over to you, Robin.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the community briefing. This is your podcast to learn everything that's going on in your community. I want to thank you for dialing in today. We have a great guest coming on who's going to be sharing some insightful information. My name is Robin Billups. I'm with the Billups Group. I have a consulting practice working with minority and women-owned firms and corporations who are looking to create strategic framework around their business plan. The team includes my sister, Crystal Mitchell, who is the founder of this community briefing, and she'll tell you a little bit about herself. And our show producer, director, showrunner, aficionado is our own Stephen Turner. And again, it's a joy to work with these people. And then Greg Sneed is also part of our team. I've never done this before because Greg usually kicks us off. So I'm sounding a little discombobulated right now. I usually ask the questions. I want to thank you guys for dialing in. I'm going to turn it over to Crystal so we can get started.
Hello, everyone. You did an excellent job.
Greg's
I
going to
might
talk
even
about
have
me,
you
though.
come in and host the business zone from time to time. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the community briefing. So happy to have you guys all here. Yeah, as you know, as Robin just said, I kind of inspiration was this platform, making sure that we had a voice in the community and get to know everyone that's doing things, sitting at tables where decisions are being made on our behalf, and we find out about them 3 days later. When it's too late to do anything about it. So the purpose of this platform is to introduce you to our leaders and stakeholders, so you'll get to know who they are. You can just reach out to them. They're like right up front and close and personal. And we expect you to hold everybody accountable, even us. But this platform is our platform, is a networking platform for us. I'm the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as I have my own practice called Mitchell Business Solutions. I'm a business coach and consultant, and I pretty much coach and consult for all of the organizations in the community because I'm one of those cohesive, collective kind of people, and I believe we all should work together. We are sponsored by powered and sponsored by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA, Miss Sarah Harris over there, that's just killing it in her position, and as well as monetarily sponsored by the Los Angeles LDC, Southern California Edison, PCR, Wells Fargo Bank, and SoCal Gas. And we are always looking for sponsorship. So you can go over to our website, thecommunitybriefing.com, and just hit that little subscribe, that little button, and you can submit your monies to us. We will be gracious and appreciative for it. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel, and we really want everyone to go over there and subscribe, because another way we can monetize this station is to monetize it on YouTube and social media platforms. So please go on over to our YouTube channel, the Community Briefing, and hit that subscribe button. And with that, we have an awesome guest today. We're all excited, and we have some people visiting. Mr. Edwin, I hope you're feeling better. Joseph Razan, hello, how are you? And some of our regulars are here, and then we have some new people that are hanging out with us today, and we're so happy to have all of you. So with this, I am going to kick it back over to Ms. Robin, and she's going to introduce our guest. Make sure you introduce yourself in the chat, yourself, your business, anything that is going on in our community. You can upload your flyers. We welcome all of that because we are a community network. And with that, Ms. Robin, is back to you.
All right. Today we have a personal friend and a professional friend as our guest, Ron Turner. Ron is a highly accomplished sales marketing executive in Southern California market with over 30 years of success at both large conglomerate stations and independently owned outlets. An action-oriented leader, Ron is a dynamic storyteller who builds productive partnerships and alliances, develops and executes innovative branding campaigns, and a competitive marketing and pricing strategies. With an extensive background in developing and managing sales and marketing campaigns over multiple media platforms, Ron was the force behind Southern California's largest targeted event, the Taste of Soul Family Festival. A 19-year market optimizer and proven revenue generator that attracts 400,000 people to the free one-day event. I think it's more like 500,000 people that attend that event at this point, and generates significant dollars in non-traditional revenue in Southern California market. Really, Ron is a community person. Ron is a voice for the community. Ron will be providing us some insight and guidance on how he got where he is, what are the trends, and how we can help KJLH, which is about to celebrate its 60th anniversary. That is our voice for our Black community. Ron, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Robin. And thank you to all the guests. Thank you, Cynthia, Stephen, for inviting me. This is truly an honor. So Robin kind of said it in a nutshell. I'm a proud Los Angelino, born and raised here in the LA community. So that has served me well in terms of partnerships, needs for the community. Just on a personal background, I come from a family of servants. So that has always been something that has been embedded in me. I had a dad who was, I'm gonna call him a basketball official legend, Booker Turner, who dedicated his life to mentoring young men in the game of basketball and also in refereeing. And then I have a mother who still to this day volunteers at our Catholic church. Shout out to Ascension Catholic Church. So it's something that we've always done. And in my professional career, it's something that has allowed me to identify or see needs in the community and do a number of things. One, how can I continue service, and how can I drive revenue to the companies I work for to make it work? Just before I get into kind of how I got started, I was at the University of Southern California and needed a job, and started at Western Federal, which at that time, University Village is now a beautiful part of the campus. Mm-hmm. But in the early 80s, it was almost like a little mall that was an annex to the university, and there was a bank. And I ended up being at that company for 13 years, rising to vice president of 2 downtown branches. I ended up leaving during that savings and loan crash. And I had a friend, Elston Butler, that was in radio, who kept saying, you got to get in radio. So I started my career actually at a Black-owned station, KACE. I don't know if you guys remember the famous KACE that was owned by Willie Davis. And to be 100% transparent, I hated it. I just hated the industry. It was at that time, here's a desk, here's a phone, and here's a phone book. Start calling and start knocking on doors. We got to drive revenue. And I was on a team of probably 10 that had been there 20 plus years. They knew everybody in the market, and I was a fish out of water. So fast forward, a company came in town and was launching it wasn't hip hop at that time. It was a rap station, 92.3 The Beat. And they had a retail division. And that's where I really sort of found my way into sales. And again, you will hear me often say community service, because that was a critical piece that corporations missed. One thing I do want to say, kind of backing up personally on my community service, I also sit on 4 boards in the Southern California. I work with Lori Gay over at NHS, LA County, who does amazing work in the community. The Diamond Lee Institute, under the leadership of Executive Director Anthony Samad on the campus of Cal State Dominguez Hills. The Black Media Collective, which I'm proud to be a board member. Black Media Collective is a group of media professionals that are dedicated to finding youth in our community who want to come up through that program, and sort of working with HR departments in the market to get them hired in the industry, which for African Americans is often extremely tough to get in the door. And then the last one is one near and dear to my heart. I'm a proud 45-year member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I serve on our local chapter's foundation board. So again, as you'll hear me kind of, I think what my superpower is service. And the reason why to me that's so important is working at KJLH, which I've been here for 10 years. We kind of had this conversation before we started. it is critical for us to find a way to get around the metrics or get around impressions, which often block money and revenue from small minority-owned businesses. And that's the case of KJLH. KJLH is an amazing radio property that has super served the community going on 60 years. And what we and our team at KJLH like to say is we sell brand equity. So we try to take our pitch out of the numbers game because we'll never win in a numbers game. And we sell brand equity. We sell trust. The way our listeners vibe with KJLH is if we go on the mic and there's a product that we push, they trust that. It's interesting at KJLH because our listeners think we've taken that property or that category, we vetted the company, it's a legitimate company. For us, it's just an ad sale. But for them, if they hear it on KJLH, they trust that it is a trusted business in the community. And surprisingly, you guys will be surprised to know that we often get calls from listeners who often say this company's not doing what they said they were going to do. You should take them off the air. I mean, they are really on it. So we have a very integrated listening audience that we work with here in our listener base in the Southern California market. But it's one that we're proud to super serve. There's one that there's a critical need to reach. And what we're kind of working on now is with new media, right? How do we super serve our core audience while inviting younger new listeners to come into the fold? That's something that I think a lot of companies are looking for, particularly radio, because now people are streaming the podcast, it's Spotify. I mean, there's so many different angles that people can reach consumers, but the power of radio for us is super serving the Black community, and that's something that we're proud to do.
Ron, when you talk about, you said that the metrics and impressions, give us a little bit more details around that, because how do what we do as a consumer impact that, and how do we help you to increase that trajectory?
So that part is critical. I just left Sacramento, so California Black Media just had a conference, statewide conference for publishers, podcasters, radio, TV that super serve the ethnic community. And how do we get those dollars? So what happens is I met with some of the Black legislators in the state of California. And my message to them is you guys may pass a great bill that has funding, but it never reaches your constituents. And they were kind of baffled on when I said that. And the reason why it never reaches your constituents is it can be with anything. Money's allocated by these corporations or wherever the money's coming from. And that money goes to an advertising agency. The advertising agency puts together a plan. And this plan is their metrics, right? So if they're looking for, let's say, someone who's going to deliver 5 million impressions, and they have this mathematical formula, there's the only way that a KJLH can get on it, basically, is if we deeply discount our rates to get it, right? Mm-hmm. Because everything is these rates are tied to these metrics. So this metric is basically a game plan. What we have to do is as minority-owned company, we have to do a better job getting ahead of the metrics, if you will, right? So when we have to do a better job working top down, we can't afford to go to an agency once a plan has been made to pitch why KJLH or why Black media. It will never work because we don't have the power. They don't have the power or authority to change the metrics or to change the game plan. And it's really too late for us to come in to pitch why you should be using us anyway. The reason why that is what these advertising agencies want to do is they want to get this, what we call a buy. They want to get these dollars placed and off their desk as soon as possible. So we'll never be able to compete against the big boys, the iHearts. So in the major players in our industry are either iHeart or Odyssey. And both of those corporations own 7 stations each in the city of Los Angeles. They also own most of their properties are full powered class C signals, which means their signals reach all 5 counties in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
KJLH is a limited signal, so we are only going to super serve LA. We're not going to go to Lancaster, Palmdale, the Inland Empire, Pasadena, Altadena. We're not going to go in those areas where we know our customers, our listeners still live. So how do we interact with them that are still coming to the LA market for work, for church, for restaurants, to visit family, etc.? So what we have to do is we have to get ahead of the game, and we have to meet with the decision makers before those plans are come down to get on the plan.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, then it's easier for us to generate that revenue, because now the agency sees KJLH as a part of the plan, and we're not trying to come in, at the last minute to try to pick up the crumbs that you've already placed. So, Robin, to answer your question, that's what we have to do a better job. We have to, because we're working at a deficit, we have to work further out, and we have to work higher up.
Well, and to your point, when I'm driving, like if I'm driving to Orange County and then I'm going on the way to my San Diego, and when KJLH drops off, I'm like, what? But again, though, I got Sears radio in my car, right? But
Right.
especially, I think what I'm hearing you say, KJLH will always serve the Black community. And in doing that, you, just like with anything around procurement and vendors and all of that kind of stuff, you got to get up front where the decision making starts, and
Right.
then roll into and be at as Crystal always say, you got to be at the table when the food is being served.
That's
versus trying to pull up a chair after all the invitations have gone out.
Right. So our team, you're absolutely right, Rob. So our team, what we want to really do is we want to do a thorough client need, a CNA. We want to do a thorough client needs analysis with the client. So right now, before 2025 plans ever come down, we want to have those meetings. But the problem is, it's not easy to get those meetings, right? They want to immediately push you to to the agency. They want to push you to these supposedly independent companies that control the dollars. And we really want to get in and make an impact, because really we are more than radio, right? We produce events, we have great partnerships. We produce 4 core events every year. We do Proven Achievers for Black History Month. We are rolling into our 26th year of Women's Health Expo at the Long Beach Convention Center, where we pull in 15 to 20,000 women for that one event. We're working on now, we're getting ready to launch our Men's Empowerment Summit at Cal State Dominguez Hills. We're partnering with Senator Steve Bradford and Dr. Thomas Parham at the university, and then we do Taste of Soul. So those are our pillar events that we do throughout the year. But what our key, where we really, I think, set ourselves apart from our competitors are the partnership deals that we can do with organizations like yours throughout the year. How do we use our voice and our superpower to come in and partner with Community Briefing or with BBA or with other organizations? We just partnered with Sarah on the BBA with Tammy Mack. I see Brother Danny Morrison on here with his organization that did a couple things that we do for small business. This month is Small Business Month. We had a really creative feature on there, the Black Business Ballot, where people can come on and vote for their favorite small Black businesses. And then we narrowed it down. I think we have 6 finalists that we're still, people can still come on our website and vote. For those small businesses will win a media grant courtesy of KJLH. So we do a lot of those. We also do for Women's Health, for Women's Business Month, which Robin is a big part of, our Level Up program. And we partner with them with a radio station out of Philadelphia, where we honor and highlight Black women entrepreneurs. And Robin has always been one of our judges for the past 4 or 5 years, where you go through a process, come in front of a board. And with that one, we grant a $10,000 media campaign to the winner of that also. And what I love about KJLH and our partnerships is, although the winner will get a $10,000 scholarship, because of other partners that we brought in, like Dr. Karen McBride at MK Circle, like Robin Billups, they sort of adopt these companies, and these companies end up getting free advice and free consultation for years. We're still working with winners from 4 or 5 years ago that still benefit from winning and entering that contest that we do here at KJLH.
You know, I'm super proud of what that Level Up campaign does. And to your point, Ron, what we do is we tell people when you participate with an organization like a KJLH, if you're not the winner, you did win. One, because you had the opportunity to do the pitch. Two, you had the opportunity to hone your skills. But also three, if you want other advisement, we make ourselves available for that, because again, we believe in collaborative work. I have a couple of questions here. What are some of the other assets of Taxi Production, which Stevie Wonder purchased back in 1979? Yeah.
So I'm sorry, say it again, Robin.
What are some of the assets of Taxi Production besides KJLH radio station? Are there other assets that are under that umbrella?
There are not. So Taxi Production is really the radio piece of his portfolio. Okay. So the production and the music and all that are totally separate from Taxi Production.
Got it. When you KJLH is talk to us a little. We've had this conversation before, and I want you to tell a little bit of the history of where those letters came from and how Stevie K got involved.
So it's interesting. If I were to ask, let me ask the audience. Does anybody want to put in chat what they think KJLH stands for? I'm just gonna give you guys a quick second. I'm going somewhere with this because where we are in the community, when people see those letters, this is what they say.
Love, joy, and happiness.
Wait, say it again.
Love, joy, and happiness.
Okay, you missed the K. All right, so it's kindness, joy, love, and happiness. When people see KJLH, that is a tagline. So it's interesting because now, when you work with a global icon like Stevie Wonder, I mean, his creative genius has always flown. So probably for the past 10 to 15 years, we've been radio free 102.3. Radio free is a music expression of world music, gospel. I mean, when you listen to us, we're a non-traditional urban radio station. So when people see those letters, everyone on the street says kindness, joy, love, and happiness. We're probably 3 generations in. What it actually stands for is a gentleman, John Lamar Hill, who owned Angela's Funeral Home, and he owned the radio station. So in the industry on the West Coast, every media, radio or TV is KABC, blah, blah, blah. So we were KJLH, and it was John Lamar Hill. Years ago, the marketing team came up with kindness, joy, love, and happiness, and it's just stuck. And it's interesting because now we want to be so bad radio free 102.3, which we are to the newer generation, but to Los Angelinos, we're kindness, joy, love, and happiness.
And that's a beautiful tagline. That is just a beautiful, beautiful tagline and a great story. Now we have a host of businesses that dial in weekly, and community businesses that are in our neighborhoods. Talk to us about how they can what is the price point and what kind of packages that you offer for these business owners so that they not only can support the radio station, but also have the bandwidth that the radio station can provide for their business.
So this great question, Robin. This is so critical for us because when you look at our KJLH, we have a seasoned, well-trained, outstanding team of marketing consultants that work here at KJLH. And what we really want to do as marketing consultants is come meet with you to really kind of get a better understanding of what you're doing, kind of see what your pain points are. You heard me say earlier, a CNA, a client needs analysis, which is just a simple conversation that we want to have to have a conversation with you. And the reason why that's so important before we get to a package, if you will, is to really understand what your business model is. Unfortunately, what we find so often is a lot of businesses have never built a marketing budget in their plan, or they want to do a quick, I have $1,500, let me get on and get off. So there's a lot that goes into it. What we try to do is really try to act as marketing consultants and show you in the radio side why you need frequency, right? So frequency for small businesses is critical because there's a rule in radio, probably in marketing, that people need to hear something at least 3 or 4 times before they act on it, right? You need to hear it. It builds trust. They take it serious. And what often happens is small businesses will come and they'll go, hey, Ron, I got $500. What can you do? And we often try to get you to keep that $500 because it's not going to work. They have these grandiose ideas of what they want. I got $1,000. I want Tammy Mack to endorse it. And it just doesn't work that way. So to answer Robin's question, what we really try to do is to come out and act as consultants and sit down and meet with you to see what you really want to do, what your directives are, kind of how you want to take it. And then based on that, we can put together a program for you, right? So we really don't have, now I will say this, periodically, we may, like the Level Up campaign, which Robin, we talked about earlier, right? We may come out with a small business package. And a small business package is $1,500 and it'll run around Christmas holidays. So we periodically do come up with things like that. But we really want our community to look at, we've seen new businesses go up, brick and mortar stores go up, beautiful. They've done a beautiful job. It looks great. They have terrific product, but they don't advertise. And now what we're trying to get into is we have to have conversations. People think social media is going to get me there. People think, it's a number of kind of excuses we have, that we hear, I'm sorry. But it really, our thing really, Robin, is to really get in there and talk to the business owner to really kind of see the direction they're trying to go on. And then we'll go in and with a recommended package based on rates that we can try to meet those needs and get them on here. But our primary goal is to build long-term clients. We want to be in a position where you can look back at KJLH and say, I was successful because of a program I did here.
That's excellent, Ron. A number of our organizations, Vermont Slauson, Los Angeles Urban League, we all are. I'm a coach consultant from a lot of those organizations. We all have workshops and classes and cohorts. I think it would be an excellent idea, you partnering with some of them and some of your guys coming out, or you guys come out and do a workshop or be one of the advisors, right? Because that's the core, right? We're teaching them what they need for their business. And marketing is a part of that. That's a big part of my process when I'm working with a client. And so I think that would be a good start, right? Get them started in the beginning. A lot of them are getting, they're under programs that provide grants for them or some sort of assistance. Maybe some of the nonprofits could write that in there. Their grant proposal writing, right, is being able to establish when you come out the gate with a seasoned a company that can help you get the word out about your business, especially if you're a community-based business. What do you think about that?
So, Crystal, that's an awesome idea. And I see my brother Joe Rouzan on here. Joe was a creative CEO that always worked with us and partnered with us on programs like that. But we want to be involved in programs like that. Earlier, I mentioned when we talked about metrics, how we want to be ahead of the curve with agencies. We also want to be ahead of the curve on, we have taught and worked with organizations that didn't know you can write a media budget in the grant. And they did write the media budget in the grant and started getting funding where now they're probably some of our most dominant clients on the radio station. So we would love to do that. Like I said, we have a great sales team that we could even alternate. We have people who want to volunteer or I would be happy to come out. I've done some of those things with Joe in the past, but we can act as consultants and really show them ahead of the time how to work like we do with agencies. We want to be ahead of the game, so when they launch, they're ready to go and they know what they need to do to get on air. Not just with us, but just in market. We want to be. One of the things we talked about in Sacramento is how we can work collectively as a group, right? So things that and what we try to do on our end is we really work hard to take radio out of our name. We could be a number of things. We can put together events. We can do digital. We produce podcasts. We have print partners. We geo target. So there's a number of things outside of just traditional radio that KJLH prides itself on that we can assist clients with.
Yeah, because that, for me, I'm in the accounting finance area for my clients, but marketing is what drives the dollars.
Right.
And so if there's not an adequate marketing plan, and a place, not just like you said, it's a collaborative of all of your social media, your ad placements, your so forth and so on. And so many of us have events and we have like 5, 10, 15, 20 people. We're working really hard to get the people, but you guys do have a large population. What is your reach, your distribution reach in this community or whatever? I'm not sure what they call it in the radio business.
Yeah, so in radio terms, if we say cume is the total number of people you reach in our universe. Mm-hmm. So if we have to average that out, KJLH probably reaches about 400,000 to 500,000 people in our cume, which is our total number of listeners. So that's sort of the generic way to say that, Crystal. When you look at the other thing probably people look at is time spent listening. And that's really when you drill deeper down into how long they interact with your radio station. But in terms of a generic on how many we touch, we're probably looking at about 400,000 to 500,000 people in our total universe that KJLH reaches.
Oh, awesome. So that would be perfect. I would be definitely willing to make an introduction to the people that I work with. I know Robin is out with PCR and all of them, but all of us are driving these programs to create successful businesses. And that is really where it kind of falls off.
What we really pride ourselves on is, even like you said, Crystal, there's great programs that people don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm often in community events or community forums, I'll give you a perfect example. Fiona Ma, California State Treasurer, was the keynote in Sacramento at our luncheon. And she listed off 5 programs from the state of California that I never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
She would, she kind of, hey, who's all heard of this? This is a fantastic program. And in a ballroom full of people, 3 people raised their hand. I didn't know that in the state of California during COVID, she talked about a program that every child from kindergarten to, I think, 12th grade gets $500 free. And if you add, your parents can add this, and then it'll be $68,000 when they turn 18. And now you got a ballroom full of media, and 5 people raise their hand if they heard of that program. So there's programs like that they're so quick to send us a press release, right? So my job at the radio station is to generate revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't generate revenue by giving you free PSAs and free press releases.
Right.
So somebody in the state of California should have written some type of marketing plan that talk about these great programs that you guys have out there that no one knows about. Mm-hmm. Another great example I'll give is during COVID, the state of California did a COVID rent relief program. Mm-hmm. They spent all this money, and when the numbers came back, they said, "Wait a minute, we don't see Black and brown people applying for these dollars." So then the research showed they didn't really advertise in our community. Their website was too convoluted to understand. People didn't know how to upload. And more importantly, they don't trust government. So I said to them when they said, well, let's not just run more spots. we put together a community resource fair. And that's what is unique about KJLH, unlike other radio properties. We can, on the dime, create events that bring people in. So what we did with the state of California is I partnered with the California Black legislators. I said, let us do these community resource fairs in each of your districts. We'll build out the tents. We'll do all the setup, and the state can come in. We'll provide Wi-Fi power. You come in with your laptops and you sign the people up. They were a little hesitant, man, maybe, but they agreed to do 7. The first one we did was at Raleigh Park in Gardena with Senator Steve Bradford. And probably 400 people showed up. Because they were a little hesitant, they only sent us 6 representatives. It took an hour to register. So it worked well, but what happened at the end of the day, we had about 150 people that didn't get served because they weren't prepared, right? But we showed that it works. We showed that if you come and you work with a trusted media source in our community and let us explain it the way we want to explain, or we need to explain it to disseminate that information, we can draw those people in there if the program is right. So that's
Well, you know
what's
what
great
I'm
about KJLH.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, Ron, is, I'm very much into strategy. You have to have a strategic framework in order for that to be implemented. And I appreciate the fact that I call it putting them up for charges. You were holding these people accountable and giving them some matrix and examples of what did not happen. One of the other questions that's in the chat box is corporate sponsorship. And I think that we all need to understand that after COVID, all of the policies and the processes and the opportunities and the way things used to work, those dogs don't hunt anymore. Right. So we all have to relook at how we look at things and participate. And to your point, going to these legislative meetings and having these conversations at the top of the house, part of that has to do with not only do you have to have those meetings, but you also need to know their fiscal calendar. When do they start budgeting, and when is it finalized, and when is the money allocated? Because I think that's what happens too. Michael Anderson always talks about the fact that there's a lot of money that comes out of the government, but when we finally hear about it, either the money's gone or we don't meet the criteria or that type of thing. So again, I think that the community briefing can be an alliance partner with KJLH to get information out there. We need you guys as subject matter experts to help us direct the community on what to do. But the other thing I want to thank you for, because you're on today, we have a lot of new people who dialed into the community briefing, including your team. So we're asking folks not just to show up when the person that you know is speaking. We need you guys dialing in every week, because the information that we're imparting is the information that you need in order to be able to access the stuff that's being legislated and or funded. So what about corporate?
So I would encourage too, and I would encourage our team. Like I said, we have a dynamic group of marketing consultants that I would encourage them to do also, because they often hear me say, see, for me and our team, there's possible marketing leads everywhere, right? And it could be a news story. Again, that's one thing that I contribute to being of service, because I know there's a need in the community. And if there's a need in the community, if they don't have marketing budget, maybe we can formulate something that creates. Prime example of that, Robin, is another keynote speaker up in Sacramento was Tony Thurman. And he made a comment that he was running for governor. And he also made a comment that he wanted to implement financial literacy in the elementary school. So marketing consultants, the way I heard it is, okay, what banks are you partnering with? How can we be involved? Right. And what we try to do often, it's interesting with KJLH, because I like to tell people that what we do a great job of on our sales team is we edutain people. We know that when people listen to KJLH, they want to be entertained, but we need to edutain. And I think where the sales team does a great job is bring that educational piece in. right? We know we need entertainment to draw us, but once we have you, how do we add that educational piece in there? And that educational piece comes from our corporate partnership. So that's a critical piece. And Robin, what you said is getting ahead of the game before the dollars are allocated is the most critical piece of the game. Because and in addition to that, I also want to say we want to meet with people who just don't want to check a box. We want to meet with people who really care like we do, right? And it's when you find that person, then it's going to hit a home run. So we want to meet that person who is just not a rush to get this project off our desk, but they really want to make a difference in our community. A lot of that is a little bit hard because when I walk in the room, they don't often look like us. So we have to explain that to them. And just one sidebar is we have a seller on our team who had a meeting with LA County Rideshare, as an example. And they want to do this entire campaign on rideshare. And the entire time I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, and it was an African American man in the room who was one of the leads. And just as an icebreaker, I said to him, so I'm raised my entire life. My father used to always say, I better not ever see you in a car with 3 or more dudes. We just targets, right? So now you just want us to hear a rideshare program and we just go all, jump in the car together and rideshare. And he started laughing. And he said, you're right. He said, drive my black. And nobody in the room understood it. But it's when you see us in that room, and what it really does for us is, can you or will you trust us enough to let us write the messaging and let it be received how we know it needs to be received in our community, right? So instead of you sending me a produced spot that's just a total disconnect, send me the bullet points and let us do it. You can approve it, but let us have some creative control in that, really, so it really, permeate, that message really gets in and deep with the community and we deliver results. So at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We don't want to deliver numbers. We want to deliver results. And results is anything KJLH can do or work on programs to make our communities better. That's what our main goal is.
Ron, good morning. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
Everyone else, hi. I'm Luis Vasquez. And on partnerships, first of all, everything you says resonates. I work, my company, Love, is a multicultural marketing agency. We work with the state. Caltrans is one of our clients, UCLA. And I work with a lot of Latino-owned media companies as well, and they share the same similar struggles getting access to those government contracts, especially since most of the public education campaigns are geared at low-income, disadvantaged communities, and we're just left outside. I would love at some point to talk with you. I have run Lava since 2017. We work with the LA Times, KTLA, Univision. We really see, I really do believe that there is strength in numbers. And in fact, I'm also looking at a few opportunities, ones that actually are looking at radio, looking at public education. And so if there's a chance where we can collaborate,
absolutely,
I'd love to talk to you about that. So, I have experience at the federal level. In fact, I feel proud about running a big campaign for the Office of Minority Health with Tanya Lee, Spike Lee's wife. And it was a campaign that we did nationwide to help reduce infant mortality in the African American community. Unfortunately, it's still a big challenge, as you know, but during that time, we really had some impact. So I do have some direct experience working with the community, not only here, but throughout the country.
Luis, I'd love to. I mean, that was sort of our message in Sacramento, is we have to work collectively. I think when we do that, it's just no way that when even if we talk about metrics, if we look at our metrics as a collective group, then we're hitting a home run. We can do it. So I'd love to talk to you
And the other thing,
So Luis,
yes, ma'am.
let me just tell you how the housekeeping goes. You can't just come off mute and start talking, okay? However, I really appreciate what you just said, and we need you to come back. We'd like for you to come on and talk about, creating an alliance with KJLH. And then the other thing is too, that I think that your openness will allow us to do what we always talk about here. The Black and brown community have to work together.
Right.
As Ron just said, there is, you get attention, volume is in numbers, right? You get that attention. We are going to be working on some voter registration things, and we want to move towards that right now because the time is of the essence. But Louis, thank you again. Put your information in the chat box, please. And because others are going to want to reach out to you as well.
Sure, I will.
And don't let today be your last time.
Yeah, just the one
we-
last thing that I wanted just to add to this conversation about contracting, and maybe Ron, you've gone through this, but I think one of the other really frustrating things is when it comes to me bidding on a project, the reality of it is the government is always going for the lowest bidder. And what frustrates me is you see a contract out there that's maybe $500,000, and that someone goes in there, leaves, $200,000, leaves like almost half of the account because they want that money. And then at the end of the day, the government's scratching, why didn't I get those results? And that's quite frustrating as well when we're not being sought after for best value because we know the community, like you said, you've delivered. And again, just the other thing on voter, today there's a media event with the Latino community and journalists. I'll put this in the chat today. It's at 5 o'clock. You are all welcome to be a part of that. It's the Latino Vote, organized by the Latino Media Coalition, a nonprofit group of journalists and other supporters.
Well,
Awesome.
what I heard you say is the fact collaboration works, and folks will pay attention, especially if they see us working together. And so again, please put your information in the chat box. There is some other information that's in the chat box about some events that are coming up. Quickly, Roz, where are you? Or Emma, are you going to make the announcement?
Roz is on here, I think.
Well, wait a minute. Let me stop for a minute. First, I want to thank Ron for coming on. We need to extend our gratitude to you, Ron, for coming on, sharing your background, but also to helping us to learn a little bit more about how this media game works. And I think that, to me, there is an opportunity for you, Louis, and some other folks who are in the media space to start educating folks on what this looks like. And I'm not talking about this audience. I'm talking about these legislators. I'm talking about the corporate organizations and their process of working with an agency that has to change, and it will change. But you guys have to educate them on what the process has been and what's being left on the table, because they're not hearing you, who are have a direct pipeline to the constituents that they want to meet up with.
That's true. And just really quickly, Louise hit the nail on the head, which we run into that lowest bid all the time. And the lowest bid doesn't mean the best value or the best.
Correct.
It just doesn't, right? And so that baffles us also. And the last thing I'm going to say on that piece, I don't even understand how they put these RFPs together without even knowing organizations' rates, right? So if you leave $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000, $5,000 on the table, I just don't see how you built that RFP to be effective and who you're going to reach with it. So again, that what Louise just said, they're checking a box that we sent the RFP, we awarded it to this agency, they had the lowest bid, and that they're probably just going to come back and say, we delivered the impressions we said, but did it make a difference? And that's what I want our elected officials to.
And I also think that, so when we're talking about marketing, I think the more people know that you exist, then the more likely people are, and they know your name, you become a household name. When you look at some of the construction companies, Turner and all of those, they see them everywhere. They see their names blasted all over the city. So when they turn in an RFP, oh yeah, I know that group and they've done so and so and so. I think it's so important as a business owner that however you can advertise, you need to be in front of people's faces all day long. You have to become the household name. One of the best things I did was the Business Zone. Why? Because it put me on air every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And whether they know it, I know they're watching. As Gilbert says, there's a lot of ninja watchers, but I do know when I walk into a room, people already know who I am. I know that.
But you know what, too, Crystal, just based on
See,
that,
but
this could be a good point. Maybe we put together, I don't want to call it an expo, right? But we advertise a lot of come learn how to get a contract or come learn there's a lot of those, right?
Mhm.
But because we've advertised a lot, we work with LA County a lot. LA County has come and said, we can't find any Black subcontractors. So we put together programs, we find them, we get them registered. But what happens after that point, right?
Ron,
So for us, maybe we do something collectively where we invite them to introduce them to the media, to who we are and what we do. Because
So,
what
Ron,
starts to happen is all these bigger companies that win these bids, they already know when I win the bid, I'm gonna call Rob. I mean, I already know that I'm gonna call Kristen. So they're just gonna subcontract it, piece it together, and submit it. So maybe there's something that we do where we invite them to see, just kind of a meet and greet on who we are.
well,
I love it.
to your point, understand this, guys. This is my thing. What you don't know that you don't know about procurement, that's what you're talking about. Because at the end of the day, that's where the RFP, the RFI, the request for information, the request for quote, all of that stuff comes from procurement. And so what I would love to be able to have an offline conversation about how to approach procurement in the media and marketing space, because that's where it's coming from.
Robert, can I say one thing on that?
Pardon
Robert,
me?
I want to tag on just one thing on that. And what we at KJLH, I don't want to, it's not just KJLH, let me say small media companies. We don't have the resources that the big boys have, right? So RFPs that come out of the state of California, iHeart and Odyssey have a government team that write those RFPs. They have teams. So of course, when those agencies win, who do you think gets the majority of those dollars? iHeart and Odyssey. They never look, and they have 7 stations to spread it around. I can cover everybody in my 7 stations, right? So how we've even talked about, would they consider putting a minority budget that we would go after, right? Because we're never going, I don't have the resource, I don't have the team that can just sit there and write grants and submit every RFP that ever comes out from these municipalities throughout the state of California. So what can we do to help small Black business? What can we do to help small Black media companies that we can collectively work together and get that messaging out and win?
Well, the thing is that, and Don Smith put an excellent point in the chat box. When I say procurement, what I'm saying is this. I've always said this. There's multiple access points. RFPs is just one of them.
Right.
Or, set aside is a whole nother thing. What is considered a small business? We're talking $10 million, right? So I think that we need to have a conversation around how this procurement functions and how it operates and how contracts are let. Who makes those decisions? Because at the end of the day, Crystal just said it. They're going to go with who they know.
Right.
But if they don't know you and you haven't shown them your touch points that meet what they told the public. That's what I always do. What commitment did you make to the public? Because that's the language that you need to be speaking to them. Stephen.
Again, Ron, I want to thank you. One thing that I wanted to ask was corporate dollars. We have the Bank of Americas of the world, JP Morgan, Chase, Edison. How can we in the Black community be a bridge for corporate sponsorship to KJLH? As well as, I want to yield the floor to Emma and Roz before we conclude.
I think it's probably just, if we can get in, like I said, what we want to do is meet with the decision maker and become a part of the plan before it gets to an advertising agency. The best example I can give on that is I used to work at part of my career. I was at SiriusXM in the early start of SiriusXM. No one really knew on the sales side how to interact with SiriusXM, and SiriusXM wasn't on anybody's plan. So the only avenue we had was to get to the CEO or the CMOs, right, and have them make the phone call to the agency that I want you guys to take a look at. So again, I think what we try to do here at KJLH and what we probably need to do as a community is start top up and work our way down. Because if I can call your agency and say Stephen Turner from the CMO of Bank of America suggested I'll call you, I'm gonna get an automatic call back. I will get a meeting. So I think we should probably take a look at that model on how we start at the top and then work down to get this traction going. Or get some
So
traction.
when you talk about the top, now we're talking about the chief financial officer and the chief procurement officer, the senior buying manager, the senior category manager. Those are the individuals that we should be shooting for, because those are the folks that bring that stuff to the buyers, the category managers, the contract people who finalize those relationships.
Right. So
again,
one point I want to say to Stephen is, here's one thing that came up with the meeting with Fiona Ma in Sacramento. The question was, would you be willing to have a conversation with these banks, right, to say the more ethnic media companies you work with will enhance your CRA status in the community? And she said, I would absolutely do that. Because I guess this Community Reinvestment Act, they have to show that they're working in the community, and it must, I don't know how, if it's point systems or what, but the more these banks work with us, the greater their CNA status would look. And that's a unique way to get them to at least bring us to the table for conversation.
I would suggest you reaching out to City First Bank in Inglewood, if you have not done so already, which was formerly Broadway Federal. They are really trying to reach out into the community and be part of the community and be what Broadway Federal used to be in the community. I have, you can reach out, I'll reach out to you and give you Delmi Martinez's phone number, and as well as John Telebach, because they're really trying to do that and come up with some excellent programming there. We had them on the show a couple weeks ago, so I'll reach out and get you that information. Right. All right. So we need we're right down at the hour. We want to thank you all for joining us.
Yeah,
Ron, you've been awesome. We want to continue this and continue conversations and how we can work together, and I'll talk to you about making some inways into some of the agencies the organizations that I'm working with to be part of our programming to get to our small business owners. Emma and Raj, you have something on voting? Because that's like 70 days away from us today. And it's crucial.
Emma can talk more,
Okay.
but Emma
Go
can
ahead.
talk more, but Emma, you can go ahead and talk. But what we did is we're looking at a way of informing the community on the issues on the down ballot, and most certainly for electing our president. So Emma can tell you what we're doing. I just own the townhouse, and we're opening that up to have a townhouse for the next 8 weeks.
Awesome.
8 weeks to inform the community. It's free, and we're bringing people on to talk about the issues and the politicians. But go ahead, Emma, because it really expands from Emma's idea of what she does for elections.
Thank you. I'll hurry. We are going to meet starting the 11th and up until the 30th of October, every Wednesday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's going to be an open forum. We're going to have a lot of discussions. We're going to learn about and understand the electoral process, which is very important for you to vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you know the deadlines to get your absentee ballots in. We're going to learn about voting, taking time to research candidates and issues that are on the ballot, the platform positions for all the key issues in school, including the local initiatives that we have to vote for: city council, school board, the judges. So every week we're going to have a special guest that will come in, we hope, and we'll have all these discussions. It will be an open forum. We will have light refreshments. Everything is free. And this is preparing for, I'm doing my event on October the 26th. I really hope all of you participate. And if you have any suggestions and someone you want to invite, please do. One of the things, we have so many different districts that are voting. We can't do everybody's, find out who's running in each district. And so with your help coming to this forum, we will be able to identify and help others that bring their sample ballot when we have our meeting to fill out, to make sure everybody is prepared to vote.
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys mark that on your calendar. We'll be reporting that every week.
We're putting the flyer out today, this week. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The flyer will go out this week, and you'll see all of the information, and we solicit your support.
Okay, send it to me
so
I can.
Other organizations that will be sending it out to their membership and to get people to come.
Awesome. I will add it to my weekly blast out so we can do that. Stephen, who we have next week?
Bear with me 1 second here. Next week we have Yolande. Well, Robert, you can add a little bit more than I can.
Yeah, Yolande has been on here before. Yolande is going to be coming on to talk about the funding that are for the Black school kids, that this money is going to be taken off. It's literally about to be rolled back. And so she's going to come on to talk about that and the support that we're going to need to rally around this opportunity to ensure that our kids get the funding that they need for school. We always end up at the end tail of anything. She is an educator. She's very much into keeping us informed. And so I call her our education correspondent. She will be here next week to talk about this initiative and what we can do to help support that for our Black and brown students, to be honest with you.
Yes, awesome. I put in the chat in September, my nonprofit that I'm on the board, P. Brown Jr. Tennis Program, we're having a big health screening day. We have Cedar Sinai's health van coming out, bus coming out, as well as Colgate. So it's a free program. It'll be free screenings, free dental exams. Tell everyone. You'll see all the information. We got a plethora of partners in the city of Los Angeles, and we're right over there in the hood at Harvard Park Tennis Program or Recreational Center, right there at 62nd and Halldale. So it should be a great day. It's free for everyone, and it's an event that we're doing for the community, for the kids. So parents come out. We got some giveaways and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
One final thing, next week when Owen Smith is here from the Miracle Theater, he's coming on because we're creating an alliance with the city of Inglewood. The city clerk for the city of Inglewood will be coming on with him because the Miracle Theater is going to be a after hours voter registration information site. And so he's going to be coming on talking, they're going to be coming on talking about that. Again, the whole push is we have to collaborate, we have to show up, we have to vote.
We do. So we have coming up in the next couple of weeks, Owen Smith. I think you're doing some voter registration with him. Is that what's happening, Robin? Okay. And as well
That's exactly what we just talked about. Yes.
Okay. And we'll have Fiona Ma on the 19th. So please come back, everyone. I want to wish everyone a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. Enjoy yourself. And we would love to see you come back next week. So stay tuned. This has been a great conversation, Ron. We must keep it up and make sure that we all can help each other. That's the only way. As Dr. George Frazier says, the great white hope ain't coming, guys.
Hey, my sister Robin is always on that collaboration tip with me. So I'm on it. I'm ready.
The great white hope ain't coming to save us. So we got to, especially if we don't get the right person in the office in for 2025, ain't nobody coming to save us. That's the real right there. See, everyone
Hey,
makes
Edwin,
me
we want you to come back. Edwin, please come.